Let's go to the phones. You call from a a 989 area code. Who's this?
This is David from Michigan.
David from Michigan.
I,
What's on your mind?
well, I wanted to talk about an issue. Last time I called in, I think it was back in March, and it was a different thing. But it was when I think you and Kelly and Michael were having that whole debate about violence at Trump's rallies and stuff like that. And at that time, I was kind of on your and Michael's side, but a thought I had made me kind of switch to Kelly's side because this whole issue now with Trump.
I don't remember
And the
what
thing
the
is,
sides
everybody,
were at that time, so you need to be more explicit.
well, I think Kelly was objecting to, I guess, making fun of like Trump because this is serious because of violence at his rallies and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah.
I think that was somewhat of the issue. But the thing I wanted to talk about this now. Everybody's talking about the nightmare scenario. What happens if Trump wins? I thought I'd had. No one's talking about the nightmare scenario. What happens if he loses? Because think about it, and let me explain that to you. I mean, suppose it's election night, he loses and refuses to concede, and starts making up conspiracy theories about how Hillary stole the election and tells his followers, "Go riot."
Right.
I mean, I know this is going to sound like hyperbole, Sam, but I don't see it's a possibility. This guy could cause a second civil war. I know that sounds, because think about it. I mean, you got to admit, we've all underestimated this guy.
No.
And
well, no, I won't admit that. I mean, look.
Well, I know you haven't, but a lot of people have.
Right. But look, I think there's not going to be Trump losing is not going to create a second civil war because you need a manufacturing base in which to produce weapons for the second. So no, that's not going to happen. Will there be people who will be upset if he loses? Yes. Will there be maybe some cross burnings in some localities? I wouldn't be surprised. Would there be maybe even like attacks? A rash of like arsons against Democratic headquarters in Tennessee, or I'm just, I don't mean anything by Tennessee. I'm just saying, yeah, that's possible, I suppose. I certainly do think that Donald Trump is going to talk about the election fraud. If he loses, he's going to talk about how he was undercut by the Republican Party. He's going to go out hard. There's no doubt about it. But I would. I don't think.
I just want to say, you don't think it's beyond him to like, if it's a close, let's say it's a close election, maybe if it's not a close election, you don't think it's above him to just refuse to concede and like drag it out? I mean.
Well, but you know what? You don't. The concession is not The concession is a formality. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the results of an election are what is the authority here, and that's only an issue in the case of like if there is a specific state that is they're within a margin of a recount and he demands a recount or something to that effect. I mean, you don't need a candidate to concede for them to lose an election. But I don't think he's going to stop squawking about it for as long as cameras are there. I think he'll go on vacation, but a couple of days he'll be screaming about it, and then he'll come back and he'll continue to scream about it, and it'll be in the news for a while, and then just go back to, being that freak, and they'll give him a TV show that again, and that'll be that. I mean, I really think that's ultimately how that ends. I hope, but I'm quite sure there's not going to be a second civil war over Donald Trump.
Here's the thing. That sounds like what you say. You weren't the one who underestimated Trump. That sounds like what everybody said when Trump first got in the Congress. Oh, he's not going to be in that long. He'll probably drop out in a month, or he'll maybe do some more primaries, but then he'll lose. I mean, you got to admit, that sounds like everybody who's been wrong about it.
Well, yeah, but the difference, we're talking about a different context here. That context was, Donald Trump, the Donald Trump phenomena is not about Donald Trump. The Donald Trump phenomena is about the Republican base. And it just so happens that this guy did not have any of the restrictions that would otherwise constrain someone else from just being Donald Trump. In other words, like, Rush Limbaugh could have done it, although he was already sort of, probably not quite as telegenic as, or smart about that news as Trump, but maybe he would be. But it's a function of the Republican base. Do I think that there's going to be some crossover from white male Democrats in particular to vote for Trump? Perhaps. I think misogyny is going to play, if Hillary Clinton in particular is the nominee, is going to play a role in that to a certain extent. But I just think that normal people do not respond to Donald Trump in the way that the Republican base does. And which is
normal people, but the Republican base. I mean, I'm not talking about, I guess maybe I went too far there with like a Civil War thing, but it's like I said, like he says, he's got at least a decent enough of followers that he's awake. You got to admit, he's awakened. I mean, granted, it was already there, but he's poured gasoline on the fire of some like real reactionary animus in this country.
I would agree with that.
He can make it worse if he wants, like on election night, to maybe not get what he wants.
I mean, look, we have a problem with right-wing militia in this country as it is. I mean, this is a long-standing problem. 6 years ago, the Department of Homeland Security tried to put out a report about it, and we're shouted down by the Republicans. I mean, literally. And so I think that I just think that a civil war may be just a little bit too much. But I appreciate the call. We'll see. Maybe, check back in a couple more months. We'll see how grim things get. I appreciate the call.
This is going to be the most fantastic guerrilla organization anybody has ever seen. It's got to be tremendous. I mean, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in the middle of the woods in Michigan. We're going to train. We're going to have guns. We're going to have gas masks. We're going to plant bombs. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. You have never seen a militia group like this before. Because, I mean, look, frankly, all the other ones, it's sad. Timothy McVeigh did something, but I mean, it was like in Oklahoma. I go to bigger places.
Hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.